Hello and welcome. Today we are reviewing the Lexus NX 450h F Sport. There's a lot to get into on this car. This is a plug-in hybrid Lexus that it's very unique in that it almost checks it's a little bit of everything. It's a hybrid in both that it's gas and electric and the type of vehicle it is. It's right between a car, right between an SUV, and it shares some unique properties that can check some of the boxes for people looking for something that fits both those types. It's quick, it's zippy like a car. It's smaller like a car, but it also has a little bit extra room similar to an SUV. So in today's video, we're going to take a tour of what it looks like on the outside and inside, and then we're going to do some tests like, can it fit car seats for your kids? Can it handle long trips? How does the EV only system mode work? Like all that stuff we're going to dive into, and I hope you're excited. So let's dive into this Lexus NX. This color is the ultrasonic blue mica, and man, does it look good, especially with the black features. Now there's a couple bits of chrome that honestly you would think would be black, similar to like this more metallic-y black trim on it. And then there's just like random chrome that seems out of place and might look a little better if they just carried this dark metallic over. Although from a distance, it doesn't look bad at all. It kind of gives it a little bit of a pop. Moving right along the back, we do have the first fuel port, we'll call it, and this is where you charge. This holds a standard J17 plug. It is not set up for DC fast charging, although the battery is so small in this, a standard home 120 volt outlet is going to be just fine. I've done it and gotten a full battery overnight, not a problem. This one's button release only. I guess you don't need to see it, but obviously that's where the actual fuel goes. And since we're in the back already, let's go ahead and take a look at the storage you get with the NX 450h Plus here. And granted, this is going to be on the higher end of the trims here for the Lexus NX types, including the fact that this does have the F Sport package, which is a handling package from Lexus that gives you a little bit more of a, let's call it, it's a better driving experience. I do think it's worth adding. It's also an appearance package that you get the F Sport labeling. Overall, it's a nice touch. As you can see, for space, I have a stroller in here. There's a decent amount of room, for your everyday road trip, going home to visit family, headed to the mall, maybe going out of town. There's definitely more than enough room. So if you are thinking, I don't know, you need a lot of space, that's the point where, you might want to get something a little bit bigger. All right, so we're going to go on our first trip with the Lexus NX here. But what we like to test is, how well does a car seat fit? And we'll just do the overall rundown of, miles per gallon on a trip. How does it handle with a family? We're bringing 2 kids and the wife, so we're doing the road trip test. So 2 car seats we'll be installing. We'll see how it fits. And then we'll be going to see Santa at a local kind of like outdoor mall place. So we're going to see Santa, and I think Elsa from Frozen is going to be there. It's going to be a great time. So let's do it. All right, so man, this is a tight squeeze if I'm being just, fully transparent here. We got the front facing seat here, which has just about a little bit of leg room. And now, granted, these seats are still set from like me driving at my most laziest comfortable seat, so I got a lot of room to move up. And we have a little perk of the Lexus iPad holder. Emma, do you like your drawing board? Nice work. All right, we're back. It's a new day here. I didn't film much from the first road trip, but we're gonna go give it another try here. As you can see, we're a little tight on room for the bassinet style seat, and Emma here has a decent amount of room in front of her. So the forward facing seat shouldn't be an issue at all. So if you have older kids, that's not an issue at all. But if you're expecting a couple little peewees like this, or you have a little one at home, it's something to consider, especially if you're tall, because it does not leave us a ton of room up front here. A bit of a tight squeeze. And again, if you don't have a kid or you have one kid, this obviously isn't an issue, so you don't even have to worry about it. Okay, so something else that I mean, it's an EV YouTube channel, so it'd be silly for you not to be curious about my experience with the plug-in hybrid system. There is a lot of good things about it. Now, we'll start with just a caveat that I would say, I think there's a tacticalness to when you choose what mode. And it's great that you get to choose the mode. You could choose, I'm going EV only now, I'm going hybrid mode, or whatever mode you choose. And something tells me after driving this for more than just, you know, the week that I have it, you would get really good at judging what trip deserves what mode. Therefore, I mean, the estimation I got on my overall like miles per gallon, I would take it with a grain of salt, just because I bet you could get really good at learning how this car adapts to different trips and different modes, and just like get amazing gas mileage. For instance, it gets, I believe, 35 estimated miles just on the EV charge alone. And then if your daily commute is under 30 miles, or heck, it doesn't matter. if your commute is slower, you can barely touch that gas, which is just a huge win. And then obviously once you get out of EV mode there, it will switch to the hybrid system. So I did use it on EV only mode for that long trip I took, and it was about, I think, round trip, I don't know, shy of 200 miles, so a decent time behind the wheel I got there. And I did wish, if I could go back in time, I would have kept it in hybrid the whole time, because I mean, I got halfway there, not even, probably about quarter way there, and then all of a sudden my EV miles went to 0. As you can see, the range estimate down here, I currently also have no EV charge, 0 miles estimated on EV mode. And that probably really affected my overall range, whereas if I would have kept it in auto the whole time, I probably could have done a little bit better, I bet. Although I didn't touch the gas at all prior to that, which is why I think it would take a little bit of experimenting to, you know, see which one actually does better in the long run. All right, on the off chance that you're interested in learning a little bit about what the difference between a plug-in hybrid versus a full electric Tesla here, well, this is a great opportunity to take a look, because I just so happen to have both today. And this comes in a little over 60, maybe 65-ish. So kind of a comparable thing that people might be cross-shopping, especially people who are ready, you know, to take that step into electric, but maybe they're not ready to go full electric. So we're just going to take a quick look at what the differences are. And, you know, obviously some of this stuff might come as, you know, more than obvious. Like this one takes gas still, and this one doesn't. But you might be surprised to learn, if you are new to plug-in hybrids, that this can actually go about 30 miles without touching its gas tank and actually operate fully electric, making it very cool. Because especially if you're a heavy driver, the Lexus is going to be nice, because obviously as soon as you hit your battery, you switch over to your gas and then you are good to go. Whereas this guy, you will be pulling over to charge at a supercharger, and not very fast, because again, this is a 2016, so it's lacking a couple things. And then obviously, I don't think a lot of people are cross-shopping a Lexus NX F Sport with a Tesla Model X. However, you never know, so I happen to have both, so why not look at them together? Especially, they're both blue, so how can you not get this shot? Look at that. Okay, so I do want to talk about how this unplugs. Now, right now the vehicle is locked. You will not be able to pull this charger out. The light will turn off, but it's not going to go anywhere. However, once we unlock it, you'll notice that metal piece up there went up, and now you are free to pull the charger out. Whoa, there we go. And then we'll put the weather sealing back over it. And we are ready to drive. All right, up next we're gonna hop into the front seat and get a quick tour of the interior. But first, to do that, these handles, they look like they're gonna open up, but they're static, they're in place. And what you do is simply grab on the inside. You see the mirrors start to fire up there, and there's a button, and you just push the button and pull, and the handle is just static there, which I actually really like. And then to get out, very intuitive. You set your hand here and put your thumb on this button, and this button opens the door and allows you to just push and get it open. Now we do have the red leather interior, which has grown on me. At first I thought it was maybe a little bit midlife crisis-y. You know, you're getting a Lexus and you're going with the red, but my wife loved it, and she kind of talked me into it and said, you know what, I think it's actually pretty cool. Especially with the black to balance it out. It looks pretty sharp. Plus the interior overall is just, you know, pretty dang gorgeous. So we're gonna dive in and let's take a look. The real show stealer is this 14-inch display, which is very unique. I think they did a cool job. It has a very hybrid feel where you almost feel like this half of the screen is a little bit more like tactical buttons, and you almost forget that this is all part of the touch display, which is a cool, unique way to integrate it. And then you do have this cool feature with the digital climate knob, and it does feel nice to push or like rather turn a real button. Right below it we do have our mode, which we could, as I toggle through, you can see we're in eco, flip it over, and we are in sport mode, which is awesome. It has just enough get up that you would expect on a P or a F Sport, and even though it is CVT, you can pretend you're shifting gears with these paddles when you go into Sport Plus, which is one more toggle over, I believe. Overall, the way the infotainment works, honestly, I was a little bit more into the Apple CarPlay. Because this does have wireless Apple CarPlay, it made it almost seamless whenever I get in here. I don't have my phone in the vehicle now on purpose so that we could take a look at the traditional layout. As you see, it's yelling at me because it cannot find my phone. We'll turn that off. The navigation, again, is gorgeous. Your audio system is overall pretty great. I love the modern design here. You can go right to your Apple Music, which I do believe is independent of having an iPhone. So if you wanted a separate subscription for a streaming service, so when you don't have your phone in the vehicle, that's a cool option. But all said and done, very intuitive menu, very snappy. Everything you're gonna need is there, and it's easy to find. Now, where it gets a little complex is over here. Granted, after a couple, days in the vehicle, like my 4th time driving this, it was second nature. But these buttons and menus do get a little complex, I thought. But as I said, you learn really quickly what you actually need, and it's mostly just turning your lane keeping and your adaptive cruise control on and off, as well as playing with your audio here. It looks a little complex, honestly. When you look back at here, you see buttons, you see 2 different stalks for, your wipers and everything. It looks almost a little overwhelming, or at least that's how I felt when I first got in this vehicle. But if you feel the same way from this view, trust me, it goes away after some time. And speaking of buttons and layout, I think Lexus did a great job of this center console design. If we start up here, there's a small storage tray. I don't even know what you would put up here, but you do have USB-C and traditional older style USB port. You have a great store away wireless charger. I have a larger iPhone, and even with the case, it fits on here, it charges, everything's dandy there. And then you can store your phone away, keep it out of the way while you're driving. That's great. And then a faux cigarette lighter here. For a second I was like, wow, there's actually a cigarette lighter. No, this is just a cover up. And then moving a little bit lower, we have our gear selector. And honestly, I love the way this is laid out, but it took me a little bit of time. So the first thing I had to learn is it's a button to park. It's not an actual shifting, it's not a position that you shift to. You actually push the button to get into park, which makes sense. And then the other thing I kept doing is, so you have to push up to get into reverse, and you push down to go into drive. And for whatever reason it might be, I always kept confusing it. So I found myself putting it into reverse, pushing it forward, thinking that, okay, if I push the gear selector forward, it's going to make it so I'm going to drive forward. But when in reality I was in reverse. Obviously user error there, and it's just something that you'll get used to again over time, but worth noting nonetheless. The rear camera system is fantastic. I love the 360 camera on here. As you can see, we can even interact with this 360 camera. Oh wait, what is behind me? And you can tap into it and zoom in. Oh, it's the stroller because I took it off when I was filming. That makes sense. I better not run it over. So yeah, they have a great 360 camera, which should be standard on every vehicle because honestly, it's just such a peace of mind to have it. I love 360 cameras. They're the best invention we've had in a while. It's almost magical too. It took me a while to be like, how does that even work? Overall camera quality is, adequate. It could be a little sharper, but I'm not going to complain because you can see everything you need. And yeah, it's all there. You also, of course, have this view button, which when you push it, oh, I guess it won't work. Let me put it back in park. Okay, now when you push it, there you go. You have a live 360 view. Frankly, I don't know what this would be used for other than, I guess technically when you get into a vehicle, you're supposed to do a walk around. And this is a virtual walk around. And it's not very, I guess it is interactive maybe. No. It'll pause and continue. Okay. Honestly, it's good to have. I don't know why it deserves its own button, but, at least it's there. I guess it's useful. I don't know why I'm complaining there. It's fine. I thought of just one small thing that I would just really like to see on such a, otherwise very upscale, top of the line vehicle, right? Like everything is exactly what you'd expect. There's heated seats, ventilated seats. There's any luxury feature. I mean, no massaging chairs, but that's getting picky. What I would really like is yeah, sure, we have this sunroof. It's great. It's a little small though. There's so many, even in just the Toyota and Lexus lineup of the full panoramic moonroof, the frost and unfrost features. I'm a sucker for that stuff. The more light in my car, the better. I love it. There's nothing else to say. It really adds to the driving experience, in my opinion. Maybe I should double check this. Maybe it's an add-on. Maybe it's an add-on, and this particular one I have just doesn't have that as the option. There's a chance that that's the case, but I don't think that's actually what's going on. I think this is the moonroof you could choose from. Now, smaller things to appreciate. The design here, everything is, of course, soft touch, very luxurious, as you'd expect when you buy a Lexus, right? If it didn't have nice materials all throughout here, you'd be upset. I don't even know what to call this 3D looking metal design. I get lost in I don't know if you can see that in the light. I could just stare at it for hours. It's very gloss black heavy, which of course everyone likes to ding because it's a fingerprint magnet. This screen, also a bit of a fingerprint magnet. But, honestly, I think the gloss black looks gorgeous in here. It really looks so good with this red color. Design-wise, is just fantastic. What I would change is use this brushed, darker aluminum-ish plastic color. And maybe I would have done that throughout, but who knows what that would actually look like when implemented instead of this gloss black. But I think the reason it's used up here is it actually gives you an illusion that the screen is this entire length because the gloss black ends, and you can't really tell where the screen ends other than, you look really close, but it does help kind of tie everything in. I get why they do it, is what I'm trying to say. Comfort wise on the seats, both my wife and I were on a trip in the vehicle, and it was great for a long trip. I have one very, very small complaint, and it's just for us big guys. When you get in a vehicle that has these bolstered seats, sometimes they feel like they're pinching you in a little bit. And then, you know, obviously the solution there is like, hey, Larry, you know, lose weight. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. But, you know, it's worth mentioning if you're a bigger guy like me. I don't know. I'm still comfortable in these, by the way. I would totally sit in them all day long. But it's a minor annoyance that sometimes if you don't get in the perfect spot, these can be digging into your back a little bit. The rest of the seat, tremendously comfortable. And the whole ride in general, very comfortable in this vehicle. Okay, right now we are demonstrating the adaptive cruise control. Right now we're way below the speed limit, so hopefully you can see that on the heads-up display. We're gonna put it up to the speed limit, and then perfect. Here's a red light, so you can see it slowing down. I am not doing a thing. It is very, very responsive. It does a great job. Now the test here, though, will it stop, and then will it go once the other vehicle in front of me starts moving forward? All right, green light, and we're going. Literally driving itself. Really a great system here. My overall recommendation on roads like this, where it's like, put my hand back on, where it's a long straightaway, or if you're on the expressway, it is perfect. Any other street, I would almost recommend using the adaptive, but turning the lane centering off. But like on a main long stretch road like this, it really handles great. It keeps the lane centering perfectly. It doesn't do what a lot of other EV or AI systems, whatever you want to call it, self-driving, where it will accidentally think it's a new lane or try to start turning. Heck, my Tesla does that all the time. But this one, here's a great example. Let's see if it tries to take this. Oh no, it's doing exactly what I said it doesn't do. All right, but it self-corrected and went to the right lane and then turned itself off. Okay, so is it perfect? No, that's so funny that it just stopped working right when I said it was doing a good job. But for the most part, it does a good job. Okay, and we are officially on EV only mode. For a quick example, you can just see a quick acceleration here. You're not going to get anywhere near the power or the acceleration feeling that you are when you are in a traditional electric vehicle, or even when you have the hybrid or auto selection mode on. What you are going to get is zero gas, and you are going to get a much quieter ride. So if you only have like a 10 mile commute every day, you can do this EV mode. Like, you still get normal acceleration. Like it's I'd call it normal, and it's a great driving experience overall. Now, personally, I would probably keep it in between and put it on the auto mode and just let the car do its thing. But, you know, you have that flexibility to play with the modes down here and get the driving experience that you want. So kudos to that. I love plug-in hybrids. I really do. All right, let's take a quick second here to appreciate the heads-up display. I've in the past complained about the heads-up display almost being too much when you got in this case too, you got a great big digital dash cluster and a big 14-inch display here. And sometimes you have a mirror that is also digital, and it could be a lot. But on this particular heads-up display, I got to give it's the best one I've had. It's just, you know, to be fair, I've only used a handful. But it's my favorite I've used, and that's because they didn't do like a halfway point with it. It tells you everything you need. It tells you the exact speed limit for the area you're in. It tells you how fast you're going, and then if you go over the speed limit, that speed limit sign will actually go red and let you know, hey, you should slow down. It also has everything you need to know when you, oh, there it goes red, except it's actually not 25 here. While we do that, if you're changing the volume, hopefully you can see that on the screen. It tells you. You can adjust that through here. All the commands that are on your steering wheel, as you push them, they show up on the heads-up display, and that is a just ginormous plus for me because, it makes sure that you can, focus on the road, and if you don't know what button you're pushing, you can actually hover over them. Hope this displays. It's hard. but actually it's not going to go ahead and click the button until you actually push it. So it's capacitive, I believe is the word. So if you hover your finger over it, it'll show you what your finger's on, and then when you actually push it, that's how you take the action. So really like this heads-up display. Everything you need to know, absolutely everything. You don't even need your dash here. So I don't know, nothing else to say there other than 10 out of 10. Except for the small fact, of course, that it thinks it's 25 when it's actually 45 this entire road. One thing I had to show off real quick is the headlight package on this particular Lexus NX. Man, do you hear how loud this thing is when it idles? Must be on charge mode. I just wanted to show it off real quick. I believe it has the matrix projection while driving too, where it'll change where it is shooting its lights to not blind oncoming drivers. Look at how bright this entire place is because of it. Especially if you're driving at night, it is worth knowing just how fantastic it does. Like, I mean, hopefully this is showing up on camera, but I can light up the just everything. And this is not with the brights on. I'm gonna turn the lights off real quick. No lights. Ready? And then lights back on. No lights. Lights back on. Let's do it one more time. Ready? Off. On. So that about does it for my review of the Lexus NX 450 Plus H Plus F Sport. I think I got that right. Overall, honestly, it's great. I mean, you're getting a Lexus. It's exactly what you would expect. And it checks just about every box, as I mentioned in the beginning, for something that's right in between a car and a SUV. It's a little bit in the, I guess, again, hybrid space, because also it's electric. So you get the best of both worlds, and it's perfect for, I would say, if you have one kid or less. The 2-kid mark, as you saw in the video, was kind of tough. It really sucked up your space. But if they're older kids, or, you know, maybe they're out of the house now and you're retired or whatever it might be, then this becomes a very good contender. So all said and done, a big thumbs up. I love what they did, and a big thank you to Toyota Lexus for letting me review this vehicle today. So I hope you guys found this informative. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them in the comments, and thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye.